Thank you, Riv. Once again, our 2015 World Champions, SK Telecom, and so well deserved. It can only be reiterated. These guys have looked unstoppable throughout the year, unstoppable throughout this tournament, and they come away with it in such fashion there with that final game, absolutely taking over the Rift.
Well, they were a little bit stoppable. They did lose that last
You're right. They had the one blemish. They had the one loss.
It was an important international tournament, but I really respect them. They bounced back so hard after that. That one loss, they really came through, tried to fix the flaws that they found, and that led to this unbelievable 53-7 bloodbath through the summer season that has culminated right here.
And their tournament has just been so clean. It took almost all the way till the finals till we saw any of these unforced errors, and there were only a couple of them.
Yeah, up until Marin kind of died there in the double, it was almost looking like, except for one tower, a perfect game here. But still some respect from the crowd for the KOO Tigers.
Yeah. And from SKT as well, great sportsmen there, showing love for our runners-up. I mean, what an incredible run they had as well. That can't be forgotten.
I really love it. You gotta love them. Look at their faces.
Talk about the attitude that brought them to the finals will carry them out of the finals.
They may have lost, but they still had such an incredible year.
But they won our hearts.
They won our hearts.
Oh, by far and away.
Yeah, the first year that they're actually a professional team, they go all the way to the finals of the World Championship.
Right, we talked about, you know, great feats like Fnatic and Origin and having made it to the semis with their first year with these rosters. The same thing for KOO Tigers, and they make it all the way to the finals. They're the only team to take a game off of SKT in this tournament. But of course, taking only one game off of SKT, I mean, they remain these titans. And you refer back to the video we had at the beginning of the day talking about a team won the Season 3 World Championships, then goes into a slump in that Season 4 to some degree, and they come back stronger than ever.
Yeah, and they're just fearless in their gameplay too, just no hesitation. I think the most I've seen SKT hesitate is when they actually like don't want to drop the cup when they're lifting it up. You know, that's like okay, we're really good at this game, League of Legends, but this cup right here, you know, that's heavy. So, but
the
yeah,
real world is more difficult.
Yeah,
that cup is.
It's
very heavy.
I've never deserved
so,
to touch it. You know, so.
They're calculated in the way that they lift the cup, just like they're calculated in the way that they play.
Eventually, they'll get used to it. You know, this may not be the last summer's cup that the SKT organization may take home, because there's nothing really showing why they should stop progression. That's the more important part for me, is a team that stays flexible through multiple patches. I mean, they've had like 4 OGN titles, 2 Worlds right now, and they've adapted to every meta. They've played to their strengths. They've slumped and came back, which is something barely any team does in League of Legends overall. So that is, for me, most impressive.
Their roster is just so well-rounded that the meta shifts. No matter which lane it shifts to, no matter what combo it can shift to, SKT have someone there that can carry.
And we really just saw that even in a microcosm in these finals, because look at what happened with Faker in this last game. He plays a couple games of Lulu, all right, let's help everybody else out. But then he has one of the most impressive Rise games I have ever seen. He was seemingly everywhere on the map at once.
When he teleported mid, is like, did we glitch or something?
What is he doing there?
SKT getting their swag on right now. Got to get, you know, decked out in all of that World Finals gear as the newest champions. But I do want to return to what you guys are saying. This microcosm that we saw in the series itself, you know, and I do want to point again towards Kkoma and the coaching staff, because we've talked about, one, these are the guys, yes, who are out there doing the work, you know, individually and as a team, but behind them they have this backbone. They have SK Telecom as an organization which is so well established, and it shows in the way that they can rebound from their first loss in Worlds and then have their most dominating game of the series.
It helps when you have Faker. So.
That as well.
It's a large advantage.
Another fitting way for this series to end was with Faker playing Rise and still nobody having an answer for it.
The best part is that so many people, even in that game, underestimated what Faker could do on Rise. There are so many what the heck moments where people are going to try and kill Faker, and he just turns it around in 2 versus 1 scenario.
That is something,
multiple times.
Yeah, when you watch SKT as an analyst, very often you see the ideal plays and you just want the teams to make them. Very often when I'm watching SKT, I'm trying to understand what they're doing with the average viewer. Like, even as an analyst, I'm like, that's actually, yeah, it makes sense. It's really smart. And they do that in the moment with only half the vision on the map, shot calling it, everybody on the same page. It's just, it shouldn't be possible. It's not allowed, you know, you shouldn't be that good at League.
And Monty, you must find solace in the fact that no team was able to find an answer for Rise. So as I asked you that question, what is the counter? It is still unanswered.
Yes.
Of course. Now when we look at the tournament holistically, there was one player that distinguished himself from the rest of the field, and that was SKT's unstoppable top laner, Marin. He had a 4.4 KDA over the tournament, the highest GPM of top laners, and the highest average CS lead at the end of all starting players. So really just, you know, being that rock for the team in general, being the shot caller, but two, creating these huge advantages for himself and leading the charge individually.
I gotta be honest, this guy does it all. In lane, in the early game, coming into this game here, he had the highest gold advantage of any player at Worlds at 10 minutes. And then he transitioned that into a massive macro game where he's constantly denying information, shoving waves, coordinating with his team when and where to pressure the map and earn these early leads for them.
And let's talk about Marin as a player over the course of his career, because when he came into SK Telecom, he was such a hyped solo queue player. This is going to be the faker of the top lane. He likes to roam, he likes to come into the mid lane and help out the jungler with ganks. But then he came in, and he was a great Rumble player, and he was a great Renekton player, but he didn't have a lot of depth. He frequently overextended in the split push and got himself killed. But this year has really been the birth of Marin as a top-tier top laner, where he really deepened his champion pool. He was just in his cocoon before, and now he's a beautiful Marin butterfly. That's very good.
The growth for him has been phenomenal, and you know, as much as we put weight on the fact that Bengi and Faker have achieved their second world championship, we have to look at those individuals who, you know, have just hit their first, and Marin being a huge example of that. Well, we'll continue this discussion in just a bit, but first, we're going to send it over to Shox for a word with our newly crowned champions.
Well, thank you very much. We will talk to them in a second, but first, join me in welcoming Trevor Henry, Brandon Beck, and Mark Merrill for the presentation of the championship medals. Of course, our champions will get their medals, starting off with Faker himself. Fantastic performance all tournament long. Followed up by Bengi, his second world championship, ruling the jungle. And then Marin, what a tournament he's had. Most valuable player. Exceptional tournament. The AD carry bag, a 16 KDA. That's the highest out of all the starting players here. And his support, Wolf, and honestly, the backbone of SKT in their run to their second world championship. Not to forget, Easy, who's stepping up to the plate, a star in his own right, and getting the applause he deserves. Kkoma, the coach, leading SKT to their second world championship. And Carter, the head coach of SKT, behind the scenes, making it all happen. Well, we can talk to our champions now. Starting off with Faker. We'll just hand over the mic. Faker, I mean, congratulations. What a fantastic run. Can you try and explain to me, after all you've been through with this team, what it means to now be able to hoist the Summoners Cup for the second time in your career?
페이커 선수 우선 우승을 정말 축하드립니다. 정말 멋진 대회를 이제 기록했는데요. 지금 현재 있는 SK T1 팀과 이제 여러 가지 일들을 정말 많은 일을 함께 같이 겪었는데 이렇게 두 번째로 소환서컵을 들어올린 소감이 어떠신가요? 어떤 의미가 있나요, 페이커 선수한테?
제가 이전에 우승했을 때는 그렇게까지 큰 기쁨이 없었는데 지금은 정말로 기쁘고 또 그때는 과거였지만 지금은 현재라서 더 기쁜 것 같습니다.
So back when I won my first Summoners Cup, I wasn't as happy as right now, and past is past and this is present, so I feel much happier right now.
Well, Faker, have to say that everyone has noticed it as well. You just seem more and more relaxed this year. You even did a somersault before the game began. Can you talk us through the experience next to the stage as well and the fun you've had here?
페이커 선수 이번 대회 때 더욱더 여유로운 모습을 많이 보이겠다고 이제 얘기를 들었는데 아까 이제 입장하실 때도 구르기를 선보일 정도로 되게 더욱더 퍼포먼스가 화려해지셨습니다. 이번 대회를 진행하면서 어떠한 경험들을 했는지 말씀해 주세요.
제가 한국에 있을 때는 여기에 있을 때보다 별로 컨디션이 안 좋았었는데 막상 롤드컵을 오고 나니까 한국에 있을 때보다 더 잘 되는 거예요. 그래서 기분도 좋고 또 여러 가지 모습을 보여줬던 것 같습니다.
So back when I was in Korea, I didn't feel as good. I mean, I didn't feel that well, and I don't think I performed as well. But after coming here at Worlds, I think I was playing much better, and I just felt a lot better. So I felt like I'd show much more myself to the crowd and fans.
That you did. With that, Faker, you still had to play out the full games. It came to 4 games, no undefeated run for you guys. Can you tell me how you guys went from game 3 to game 4? Was your confidence shaken at any point?
이제 4경기까지 가면서 결국 전승 우승이 이제 깨지고 좀 어려움을 갖고 계셨는데 3경기에서 이제 지셨을 때 좀 자신감이 흔들리거나 4경기에 들어갔을 때 어떤 마음가짐으로 임했는지 말씀해 주세요.
저희가 이번 롤드컵에서 처음으로 진 거기 때문에 모두가 상심이 컸지만 그렇지만 모두 힘내서 다시 4경기 때는 원래 플레이하던 대로 했던 것 같고 3경기 때 졌을 때 저는 전승 우승이 깨져가지고 우승을 해도 별로 기쁘지 않을 것 같았는데 막상 우승하니까 아무런 생각도 안 하고 그냥 이겼다는 거에 기쁜 것 같습니다.
So at first, this was our first loss in the tournament, so all our teammates, we felt really bad. But we said, let's cheer up once more, and we went back to our original play style. And at first, personally, when I lost the third game, I thought I wouldn't be as happy because our perfect record was broken. But after we won, I just didn't remember any of that third game, and it just felt really good.
And you guys closed it out. Finally, for Faker, before we talk to Bengi as well, is there anything you want to say to all the fans watching back in Korea and around the world and here who have supported you for the last couple of weeks?
이제 마지막으로 여기 현장에 와주신 팬들이나 전 세계에서 페이커 선수와 SKT1 팀을 응원해준 팬들한테 한마디 말씀 부탁드립니다.
Hi guys. I have so much to tell you, but my English is not good. So thank you and thank you for sharing and always love me.
Obviously, they love you here as well, Faker. Thank you very much. But we also need to talk to Bengi. Congratulations. I mean, what a fantastic tournament. Also, your second World Championship. Has it sunken in yet that you've been able to do this 2 times in the last couple of years?
그 뱅기 선수 우승을 축하드리고요. 아직 실감이 안 날 수 있지만 어쨌든 지금 2회째 우승을 차지하셨습니다. 우승 소감을 말씀해 주세요.
일단 2회째 우승이라는 게 너무 고맙고 좀 팀원들에게 좀 감사해요. 제가 아무래도 결승전 때 좀 안 좋은 모습을 보였다고 생각하기 때문에 아무래도 이 경기도 제가 실수한 것 때문에 힘들었고 3경기 때도 저로 인해 좀 힘들었고 그래서 팀원에게 너무 미안하다는 생각이 좀 많네요.
First, I want to say thanks to my teammates. Personally, I think I haven't performed that well during this final series. I think our team struggled during the second and third game because of me. So I'm really sorry for my teammates and also thankful at the same time.
Well, Bengi, even with that very self-critical but a fantastic tournament for you and your team after all, how have you lived kind of the last couple of years? Because we know that you haven't had the easiest time last year around. It still must mean a lot, even if you're doubting yourself at this moment.
지금 정말 최고의 순간이지만 이제 작년에는 조금 팀 전체적으로 힘든 순간도 있었고 이제 지난 여기까지 우승하기까지 지난 시간의 여정을 좀 말씀해 주세요.
일단 처음에는 지는 게 어렵다고 생각할 정도로 첫 시즌은 잘 보냈어요. 롤드컵 우승도 하고 그 해를 완벽하게 보냈으니까. 근데 그 다음 해를 보냈을 때는 정말 절망적일 정도로 바닥을 쳤고 그 다음에 자신감도 없는 상태에서 솔직히 은퇴할까도 생각했는데 아무래도 코치님이 한 시즌만 더 해보자 계속 설득해 주셔서 한 시즌을 더 보냈는데 그런 저를 설득해준 코치님한테 감사하게 여기고 싶어요.
So like at our first year, we were playing so well. Like, losing seemed even harder than winning. So we even won the world championship. But last year we had a very abysmal year. Like we had a very hard time. I even thought of retiring, but my coach talked me into it. And he told me to let's play one more season. Let's play together one more time. And I just want to say thanks to Kkoma, my coach, for grabbing me once more and helping me come back to my own pace.
With that, Bengi, is there anything you want to say to all the fans that have been supporting SKT through bad times and very, very good times?
뱅기 선수도 어쨌든 SKT1이 힘든 시절부터 지금까지 응원해준 모든 SKT1 팬들에게 한마디 말씀해 주세요.
일단 저는 영어가 짧아서 영어로는 말 못할 것 같고 저희가 잘할 때나 못할 때나 항상 응원해준 팬분들에게 감사하게 여기고 싶고 또 유럽에서 응원해준 팬분들에게 감사하게 여기고 싶습니다.
I wish I could speak in English, but my English is not too good. I want to say thanks to all our fans who supported us during our bad times and good times. And I also want to say thanks to all the European fans who cheered us throughout the whole month. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Bengi. Thank you very much, Faker. We'll be talking to some more members of SKT in just a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, one more time for your 2015 League of Legends World Champions, SK Telecom T1.
감사합니다. 조금 약간 힘들게 해서 너무 기분 좋은데.
I have to say, what a winner's mentality, a champion's mentality there for Faker, or from Faker rather. You know, for him to say that the last one didn't mean as much as this one. The past is the past, the present is the present, right? That is a champion's mentality, looking forward to this series and putting as much weight on it. So many people would be willing to say, well, I've won one before. I can rest on my laurels there. And he doesn't do that. He comes back in and wins it in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, just being able to get the first person ever to combine with Bengi there just to get 2 cups. You know, nobody.
Kkoma, if we're talking about
Kkoma,
repeats, let's give credit.
We're gonna go into semantics here. Yeah.
Well, and then on Bengi's side, the modesty that comes from him in victory there, saying that he didn't feel he played his best game, you know, but it really was a team effort. And then too, to stretch Kkoma and say that I was looking at retiring, but again, this points to the organization, the strength of them as a team staying together.
Yeah, and SKT just as a lineup are very modest. You know, when they have winning matchups, they don't really go to style on their opponents. They just play clean League of Legends with the necessary amount of respect, and then they just end the game. Sometimes it's not as exciting because they could go for all these weird picks and still win the game because they're so good at the game. But
And now, of course, it's time for a celebration.
swag time!
Swag time! As the players of SK Telecom get to finally celebrate with the rest of the people here in the arena. I'm sure things are about to get wild and crazy.
Can I go down there?
I did one of those
You
shirts.
want to just swing by the desk real quick and I'll just, peace
Yeah,
out?
you know what? I'll hold down the desk crop, but you go join them down there for the party. Seriously, I gotta get my hands on one of those shirts. What's going on?
Easyhoon and Wolf getting in on it as well. Easyhoon, great performance from him as well. Some people might think it's hard to be on a team where the person with your spot on the starting lineup is Faker.
That was a great interaction
He
there.
pulls it off so well.
Well, Easyhoon, too. We talk about the last finals that SKT played against the KOO Tigers, and he was the man in charge. Faker sat on the bench for the entire finals during that 3-0 performance, and he's been absolutely crucial to this team because it allows them, it makes it so hard to prepare against them. They can play Easyhoon, and he's so good at these control mages that it really changes up your pick ban strategy.
And they're spearheading the trend where teams are starting to get really inclusive with their substitutions. At the start of League of Legends teams, subs were only people you put on the piece of paper just to have in emergencies. You know, sometimes they were Diamond 3, but SKT, they take that a step further, you know, have their subs ready to fill in. You know, they have players like Easyhoon who could easily be rated as top 5 mid laners in the world on their bench. You know, so unluckily for him, he has Faker to go up against there. So that's really cool that they're so inclusive of him, even in the post-game celebration, for example. They're a team.
It's another thing that puts SKT even further ahead of the competition, that they're already fielding a 6-man roster with rotating that roster and actually getting a lot of value out of Easyhoon.
Yeah, and I think that's where you end up looking to other teams now and what they end up taking away from this experience at Worlds, from both their own experiences, but as well as from witnessing the achievements of SKT. Clearly, this organization is doing something right to have won 2 in the last 3. All right, well, now we're going to send it over to the stage where Shox is joined once again by SKT's coach and our 2015 Worlds MVP.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Joined here by Kkoma, the coach for SKT. You can keep the hat on if you want. Well, Kkoma, I want to start by congratulating you, 2-time world champion with SKT, and I want to start by talking about something Bengi said, how you were so instrumental in helping him get back up there together with the rest of the team. Can you tell me about your experience about these guys who were quite down last year, bringing them all the way back up and winning the Summoners Cup?
그 코치님 우선 SKT 팀과 2회 우승을 거두신 걸 축하드리고요. 방금 인터뷰에서 뱅기 선수가 본인이 힘들어할 때 코치님이 도움으로 다시 한번 팀과 다시 힘을 내서 경기를 할 수 있다고 얘기를 했었는데 코치님이 어째 이런 팀을 SKT1 팀을 힘들 때를 겪어서 다시 정상까지 올리기까지 어땠었는지 말씀해 주세요.
일단 과정 같은 경우 처음부터 이야기하면 너무 길어서 힘들 것 같고요. 일단 뭐 이런 결과 나오기까지는 정말 많은 노력과 정말 많은 노력, 눈으로 보지 않고서는 정말 몰라요. 뭐 피드백 할 때나 뭐 이런 아무튼 정말 힘든 과정이 있었습니다. 이런 우승은 그냥 운으로 온 게 아니고요. 정말 선수들이 노력한 만큼 나았었던 것 같습니다. 선수들이 정말 굉장히 노력했습니다.
I wish I could tell the full story, but it's too long, so I'm going to skip that. And like coming up to this point, it's just, I don't know, it's really hard to explain in a couple of words. We put in so much effort, we had endless feedback sessions, and players practiced so hard. The players came up to this position as a champion, once again, not through luck, but their own practice and effort. And yeah, overall, I think it's all because of the players, how much they dedicate themselves into this game and this sport.
Well, dedicate themselves, they did, and Kkoma, it begs the question, 2 world championships in the very young history of League of Legends, 5 years, you naming those players how strong they are, we know what you can do with them. What does that make you think in terms of the possible world championships that SKT could take in the future?
그 이제 이 5회밖에 진행 안 된 이 짧은 월드 챔피언십 기간 동안에 SKT는 무려 2회나 우승을 거뒀습니다. 근데 이제 코치님 말씀하신 것처럼 이렇게 연습 열심히 하고 정말 강한 선수들이 팀에 있는데 이제 앞으로 미래에 SKT형이 다시 한번 월드 챔피언십에 결승 우승하기까지 어떤 가능성, 어떻게 될 것 같은지 말씀해 주세요.
예, 재작년에 뭐 윈터 전승 우승하고도 했었던 말인데, 물론 내년에 뭐 떨어질 수도 있긴 하지만 팬분들이 응원을 해주신다면 이 무대에 언제든지 올라오겠습니다. 팬분들 항상 아낌없는 격려와 응원 부탁드리겠습니다. 팬분들이 계신다면 이 자리에 꼭 다시 올라오겠습니다.
So after we won Winter 2014 LCK, the perfect record, during the winner interview, I said that even though we're at this top of the mountain, we might fall and we might have some hard times. But if we have the fans there to cheer for us during our bad time and they keep on rooting for us, we can climb back up. I'm going to say that again. So we're at the top of the mountain right now, but I just want to say that, ask for our fans to keep on cheering for us and keep on rooting for us, so we can, even though you might have some hard times in the future, with those fans, we can also once again bounce back up.
And they always will. Thank you very much, Kkoma. Congratulations, the coach, after reaching his second World Championship. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Shocks. And that's a guy right there that I want to sit down with for a couple hours and really just get his full philosophy and thoughts on coaching, because the work he's done with this young crew of guys has been just phenomenal to watch.
Gonna need a translator though.
I will need it.
I have actually had the joy of talking to Kkoma in like an informal setting rather, just while getting some translation, and he's like hilarious. He's a super nice guy. Every time you meet him just outside of the venue, he's always smiling. So Kkoma is just actually so good of a person that it makes you annoyed. You know, why can't I be more
You're
like Kkoma?
You're a good human being. You're successful. What is this?
You're good at League of Legends.
You're everything Crepo isn't. What is going on?
Oh, comes full circle.
I love you, buddy. But, you know, again, we have to reflect, and he talked about it there, the organization itself. You know, looking forward, the future of SK Telecom is such a young esport here, League of Legends, and they've already got 2 of the 5 World Championships. I mean, that's quite a trophy case, but they're also building up quite a bit of expectation for themselves now moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's one more thing that they could do. They could actually not drop any games. They only dropped a single one, so at least they left room for improvement. I think that was the idea.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so now when they go back to the team house later, they can be like, all right, so we clearly have things to work on.
Yeah, what are we working for next season?
Yeah.
Less losses.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go run 5-man into the jungle and give up 5 kills in the first 5 minutes. But if we can avoid that, we'll probably be good. I feel like, you know, aside from that, when we look at the run that this team has made throughout Worlds, you know, they really should walk away, though, even with that blemish, ignoring the fact that it wasn't perfect, because that shouldn't be what they, you know, end up hanging their hats on. It should be that dominating fashion that they won.
I mean, they messed up a couple lane swaps, you know. But
right.
at this point, I'm not sure whether they messed him up or whether I'm too dumb to realize what they were actually doing at that point. I'm like, you didn't bounce the wave, SKT, you made a mistake, but maybe it's, you know, they've shown the late game shot calling is so good that I'm starting to question my own sanity when it comes to like watching them.
You're not
like,
making a good case for yourself for a new coach.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm not looking to coach. I'm looking to stay here.
You want to stay right here, where it's okay to be wrong?
Yes.
So you're just not seeing the long game of the 3-minute setup of the wave bounces back and forth 2 times, and then that's where the play comes in.
Of course.
It's all calculated.
Yeah,
Well, it's the 25-minute setup till the Nexus explosion. The entire plan.
Well, one last time, we have another interview back down to Shocks, who's standing by with SKT's men in the top lane.
Thank you very much, once again, Dash. Woo. Standing by with Marin, as said, the MVP, and well, for Faker and Bengi, their second World Championship. It was his very first World Championship, and immediately you win. Congratulations. What are your first thoughts after hoisting that cup, being here for the first time and going all the way with your team?
그 마린 선수 우선 첫 월드 챔피언십 우승을 축하드리고요. 우승 직후에 이제 소환사컵을 처음 들어올렸을 때 무슨 생각을 하셨나요?
네, 일단 저희가 페이커 선수랑 벤기 선수들은 이제 2회째 우승이긴 한데 나머지 선수들은 이제 첫 우승이라 정말 더 기뻤고, 그래서 소환사컵을 들었을 때 이제 우승했다고 실감이 들었어요.
So even though it's Faker and Bengi's second World Championship, for the rest of us, it's our first. So we were all so happy, and we were we really enjoyed that moment. And by the time when you hoisted that World Championship Cup, Summers Cup, at that point it struck me that, oh, we're the world champions.
That must have given you, maybe not yet, but some time to reflect on your own performance. Your teammate Bengi was saying how he wasn't that satisfied with his own play. You have been impeccable throughout the tournament. Our analysts crowned you most valuable player. How do you reflect on how you've done?
그 벤기 선수는 이전 인터뷰에서 이번 결승전 때 그리고 이번 대회 동안 본인의 활약에 대해서 좀 만족하지 못한다고 얘기를 했었는데, 마린 선수는 이번 대회 정말 엄청난 활약을 계속 보여줬었고, 이번 대회 끝나고 이제 분석가 데스크에서 이번 대회 MVP를 꼽혔습니다. 본인의 활약을 이번 대회 동안에 어떻게 평가하시나요?
네, 일단 제가 이번 시즌 롤드컵에서 잘한 부분도 있고 못한 부분도 있는데 못한 부분이 좀 있음에도 이번 시즌에 MVP로 뽑아주셔서 정말 감사하고요. 내년에도 롤드컵에 나와서 이번 시즌에 아쉬운 점들을 더 보완해서 내년에는 좀 퍼펙트한 마린으로 돌아올 수 있었으면 좋을 것 같아요.
So even though I had some good plays and bad plays throughout this tournament, I want to thank everybody for naming me the MVP, the most valuable player of this tournament. And hopefully I want to come back next year once more. And I want to fix my flaws and come back as a more perfect Marin, perfect version of Marin.
Well, that will be very scary. We'll be waiting for you, Marin. Is there anything you want to say to all the fans here and all the SKT fans around the world?
마지막으로 여기 있는 SKT1 팬들과 전 세계에서 응원한 SKT1 팬들에게 한마디 말씀 부탁드립니다.
Thank you, everybody. I love you. 영어는 짧아서 이 정도만 하고요. 일단 SKT1이 세계적으로 제일 유명한 팀이 될 수 있었던 거는 그래도 팬분들의 응원이 정말 커서인 것 같고 그래서 정말 감사하다고 전하고 싶어요. 전 세계 팬분들에게.
Except for the English part.
Yeah.
I think without all of our fan support, SKT wouldn't have become like the world top esports pro team. So I want to say thanks to all of our fans.
And thanks to you, Marin, for an exceptional tournament. 감사합니다. Back over to you guys.